Item number 1.
May it please your lordship. Well, in compliance with the last order, my lord, of this honourable court, we have submitted a small report, my lord.
What is this matter about? Please remind us.
This is regarding the hawkers.
Hawkers matter.
The hawkers.
Hawkers.
So now it is the second phase.
Yes, your lord.
Limekra area.
Limekra area.
My lord, second phase, that's right, my lord. But then the vending places have not been identified, my lord. How do they shift these hawkers? Even if they make a list, how do they shift? Where do they accommodate, my lord? So that is a big challenge, my lord. Now, you are supposed to have a provisional town vending committee, my lord. How long this is going to work by the
Where are the orders?
interim?
Before my learned friend submit, my lord, I'd like to point out,
Yes.
my lord, may kindly come to page 6 of the report that I have submitted, Annexure 1.
Let us see our last order first.
My lord, my lord.
Yes. Where is your report? This is the report.
My lord, may kindly come to page 6, my lord. Annexure 1, report of the street vendor at Limekra, my lord. The PTVC conduct a survey of street vendors.
Total 70 vendors.
No, my lord. Total is 122, my lord. Vendors.
No, your page
Eligible
6.
vendors. Eligible.
Page 6.
Page 6, if my lord may kindly produce page 6. It is 122 the total vendors, my lord, were surveyed. Out of which, my lord, only 22 vendors are eligible for the provisional.
No, you come to page 6, which is a report.
Yes, my lord.
22 eligible.
Yes, my lord.
Additionally, 48
Yes.
claim themselves as street vendors. So it
Yes.
comes to 70.
Yes, my lord.
But this is a report of
This is a report
2024.
of. Yes, my lord.
So now it is 122.
No, my lord. This was done all over the Shillong, my lord, and it was in the. We have conducted the survey, my lord, in January 2024, my lord. And that was the total, my lord. 122 is the total.
All over Shillong.
No,
No,
this
no,
is
my lord.
pertaining to Limekra.
Limekra only.
What is the meaning of this? Additionally, 48 vendors claim themselves as street vendors?
Yes, they are also claiming, my lord, they are street vendors, my lord. Now they will be claim and counter claim.
That is 122 plus 48.
No, my lord. 122 is total, my lord.
Can't be.
If my lord may kindly produce the list that we
No,
have.
122 vendors were surveyed.
Yes, my lord.
It was found that 22 were eligible.
Yes, ma'am.
Additionally, 48 vendors claim themselves as street vendors.
Street vendors.
Now, these 122 are street vendors.
Yes, total is 122, my lord.
Why
of which-
additionally? What is the meaning of this? Additionally,
if my lord may kindly produce the list that I have enclosed, my lord. Annexure 2, my lord. If my lord may kindly come to page 41, my lord will see 122 is the total numbers. Yes.
Yes.
Now, we can see Annexure 3, my lord. These are the list of eligible vendors, my lord. Annexure 3, page 42. And they are, my lord, total is 22. They fit into the scheme, my lord.
This is exactly what I was saying.
My lord.
Come to Annexure 4.
Yes, my lord.
48
Annexure
is
4.
additional.
Yes, my lord. That will be an additional, my lord. That is, they are making the claim, my lord. It is they who are making the claim, my lord. Now, whether they will fit into the scheme or not, my lord, that has to be.
Over 122.
It has to
They
be.
are not part of 120.
It has to be.
My lord has directed what report, my lord, last date. My lord, just read to my lord's directions. My lord has said this, my lord. We direct the Shillong Municipal Board to file a report in this court with regard to the number of vending licenses. The number of vending licenses issued for the purpose of street vending, along with the names of the licensee in Laimukra area, my lord. My lord has specifically asked how many vending licenses did you issue in this Laimukra area, my lord. They are coming up with saying that this many is eligible, this many is not eligible, my lord.
My lord, may kindly again produce page 6, my lord.
Paragraph 3, they have said that license has not been issued.
Yes, my lord.
Yes.
And even
My
in
lord
page
has
6,
also
we have said, my lord.
My lord has also directed to make an inspection.
Yes.
The board to make an inspection.
So they are submitting a report which was done in the past. They have not done anything which is in the present, pursuant to my lord's directions.
You show some action and file a report.
My lord, we'll do that. My lord, may kindly produce para 4 of my affidavit, my lord, of my report, my lord.
Let them do it properly and file a report. Identify. Yes.
My lords, I am appearing on behalf of the Singh Samla, my lords. The Singh.
Please hear the order.
Yes.
After the successful drive in dealing with street hawkers in the Police Bazaar area, this public interest litigation was instituted by first line of the previous order. Singh Samla Light Mukra.
My lord, that is wrong, my lord. It has been filed by Mr. Andrew Ibok Zerua, my lord.
My lord, my application was for
PIL 9 of
implement.
2024, my
The
lord.
Singh Samla's application was for implement.
They have
in
filed for implement, my
PIL
lord,
9.
whereas, my lord, the subject matter has already been covered by
My
this
lords,
PIL.
All right.
My lords,
By
Ibok Zerua.
Philip Krabok Sati.
Yes,
No, my lord,
Lordship, I am
Andrew
the.
Ibok- there are
Lordship,
two
this-
PILs, my lord. One
Lordship,
is
the first
regarding
one is the main PIL, Lordship, and the rest are
one
the
is
mistakes
regarding
arising out of this
the
PIL,
traffic,
Lordship.
my lord. Whereas the hawkers matter is Andrew Ibok Zerua, PIL number 9.
Number 9 of 20.
and my lords, I had filed an application for implement.
The main case is the item number
By-
1, Lordship.
Andrew Ibok
Zerua.
Jairwa. Bracket PIL number 9 stroke 2024. That was for Lightumkra area.
My lord.
That is for the entire.
My lords, the PIL is for the entire Shillong.
Entire Shillong.
The issue of
Let me
hawkers,
see.
my lord.
Issue of hawkers, my lord. For the entire city, my lord.
And I come before my lords only for
My lord,
Latimukra
she is
area.
not even a party also.
The police Bazaar order was passed in this PIL 9.
Yes, my lord. Right.
Okay, what?
PIL.
No, this application. An application. What is the number of your application?
My lords, Miss Case
3.
3.
An application was made by Singh Samla Lightum Kra, quotation Yeng Shem Ha Ka Hok, a registered society to be impleaded as a party. And for extension of the police bazaar action to the Laitum Kra area of Shillong. Paragraph. By our order dated 14th August 2025, we took cognizance of this application and passed the following order. Mark in pencil, page 3. to 4 mark portion of order dated 14/8/2025. In compliance with this order, the Shillong Municipal Board has filed a report in this court. Paragraph, the facts which emerge from this report do not project a good picture at all. Full stop. It appears that there is a large number of hawkers in the Laitum Kra area. Full stop. None of them possess any certificate of vending or a vending license. Full stop. The board has taken note of 122 of them. Full stop. Out of these 122, according to it, only 22 vendors are, within quotation, eligible under the provisions of the scheme, unquote. Therefore, it follows that even these 22 do not possess any license. But according to the board, within quotation, eligible for it. It is not very clear what the board means by this sentence, but they have stated, quotation, additionally, 48 vendors claim themselves as street vendors, unquote. So the summary is that 122 plus 48 street vendors are operating in the above area. Without any license. It further appears that this survey of street vendors was carried out between 12th and 16th January 2024, and the figures pertain to that period. It is highly likely that the figure has increased today. no paragraph, no inspection or survey has been done after our order dated 14th August 2025, in terms of it. Paragraph. In those circumstances, more concerted action is called for from the Shillong Board. Next, we direct as follows. A. The board shall within 3 weeks from date make a thorough survey of the Laitumkra area and make an inventory of all the street vendors operating thereat, with full details with regard to their names, the merchandise sold, the area occupied, and the period during which such occupation is continuing, and so on. B. The board, with the help of the administration, including the local police, will ensure that till further orders, not a single additional vendor is allowed to trade in that area, and to prevent such act, a strict vigil has to be maintained. C. If the board will consider all pending applications before it for grant of certificate of vending stroke, vending licenses, and issue certificates to those vendors in accordance with law within 8 weeks from date. These would include the 22 vendors whom the board considers as, within quotation, eligible under the provisions of the scheme, unquote, provided a proper application in accordance with law has been made by each of them. D, the board may also give an opportunity to those vendors who do not have a license to apply for it and to process the same in accordance with law. Next, at the same time, the board along with the administration will identify a suitable place for relocation of licensed vendors. Full stop. Who's appealing for the state?
I'm appearing.
All right. The state and the board are directed to file a joint or independent reports before the returnable date of this application. We make this application returnable 8 weeks hence.
My lords, and also the question of
Pass part away with the file, my lord. Two things I must submit, my lord. The first thing is, my lord, that the status quo be maintained as of today, my lord, irrespective. Because why I said so, my lord?
We have said so.
Yes.
That they will see that not a single additional hawker is added.
Additional
today.
offer is, my lord, I'm grateful for that, my lord. And the second part that I must submit, my lord, is the orders, my lord, with most humility and humble submission, my lord. This direction to the boards may be in context of the Vending Act 2014, because it may be little wrong, my lord. Why I say so? Because it is the town vending committee, my lord, who is going to do the survey, who is going to...
Yes, but that is part of the board.
Yes.
My lord.
That is part of the board.
My lord, therefore, my lord, singularly the board cannot. Otherwise, my lord...
No, my lord, that is the wrong submission my friend is giving. My lord, may kindly see the report, my lord. My lord, may kindly see page 6, my lord, annexure 1. The provisional town vending committee survey a report in the Limekhala so and so in presence of the respective from the Hawkers Association. Their people are there, my lord. Why they are worried?
You see, in the report they have said, Town Vending Committee and Chief Executive Officer, Shillong Municipal Board.
Yes.
So they are under the board.
Yes.
My lord, so there has to be a collective of all the town vending committee. And the second part, my lord, if my lord can kindly take note of this, my lord. We have been functioning under the provisional town vending committee, provisional, my lord. This is not going to work long, my lord. There has to be a town vending committee. Town vending committee has not been constituted, my lord. That is a whole problem, my lord.
My lord, again, this will
Second
complicate
part,
the matter.
second
That will complicate, my lord. Then again, a committee has to be constituted, then only survey.
Let us see what they do with
Yes.
the existing committee. If we find that they are failing and neglecting to carry out court orders, then we can think of
Yes.
this.
And the second part, I just wanted to bring to my lord's notice is, my lord. Very well, my lord, from Police Bazaar, my members have been shifted to a new places, my lord. This morning, 8:30, I myself have witnessed, my lord, all the tourist taxis have come and they have made the parking place there, right in front of the authority. 8:30 in the morning, my lord. This place is
My lord, that is different subject, my lord. That
No.
can be taken care of.
This comes up all the traffic, my lord. Now because we are diverting.
Let him file an affidavit, my lord.
Deviating from the main issue, Your
Yes.
Lordship.
No, we are diverting from the main issue. There was a traffic issue was
My
the
lord,
main
traffic
issue, my lord.
police are there, my lord. That
There
can be looked
if
at.
there is a large public issue
Yes.
which the court can take care of. We are not the ministry. We are not the bureaucracy. We are not the police.
Exactly, my lord.
Once we take that role, it's a barrier for the judiciary.
With all humble submission, my lord, in this state, my lord, until and unless my lords does not interfere, does not even one pencil does not one
Alright,
pencil doesn't move.
Just see
That's
up.
what I wanted to.
It has moved very well in police bazaar. It will very
Yes.
My lord.
and
Okay.
everybody is happy.
Yes,
No,
my
everybody
lord.
is happy. We are happy. too,
Except
my lord.
Mr. Yogan
But-
is not.
No, I am very happy, my lord.
My lords, and the question of my impleading, my lords, was to be
That can be
decided.
considered on the later
The
date, my lord.
question of my impleading was to be decided.
You are your presence is allowed for the
Yes,
time
my
being.
lord.
Yes.
Presence is allowed.
Yes.
Obliged.
Obliged.
Number 2 and 3.
Yes, please. It is a one warehouse. Okay. Yes, Mr. Shah.
Well, we have prepared our notes of arguments
Yes.
and also a compilation of the judgments that we had relied on. Well, there's a separate compilation of the judgments so that your lordships do not have to search for the judgments which we had handed over in the course of arguments. But well, there's an independent notes of our arguments. Well, these deals with our arguments in the opening and also well, the arguments well, in response to what the respondents have submitted. So, I would ask my advocate and record present there to hand up copies of these notes to your lordship. Mr. Rayner, yeah, yes. Well, I will not take your lordship through the notes. I'll try to be very brief in my submissions and point out, my lord, what I think are relevant after hearing my lord, the arguments of the respondents.
Yes.
My lord, may I request your lordship to, my lord, just take up one page of the writ petition, my lord, page 70. I will try to be brief. Page 70 if your lordships will have a look at. My lord, this is a communication that was made by the state, my lord, which encompasses, my lord, amongst other things, the object for which these, my lord, rules were sought to be amended.
7-0.
70.
Yes.
Well, it's a communication dated 10th June 2021. I will request your lordships to please have a look at, my lord, paragraph 5 at page 71, the next page. Well, lord, according to the state, the object for which, my lord, this amendment was required was, if your lordship will kindly through the first three paragraphs, it was observed that some bonded warehouses applied for a lesser number of import permits, perhaps, my lord, it's a conjecture, perhaps due to financial constraints as the investment increased manifold after introduction of prepaid ad valorem duty. So, my lord, this is the first, my lord, ground. Now, my lord, the bonders are not saying that they had faced.
But I tell you, Mr. Shah, we are taking no note of this because they cannot explain a notification in this way. We will see the notification on the face of it.
But, my lord, only one thing, my lord, if your lordship will see, my lord, the third point, which was, my lord, it moved in justification for this, my lord, regulation or the amendment, Roman 3, where it says that it would be easier for the government to exercise controls and monitor one entity in place of existing 45 bonded warehouses, and it also serves as a single point for collection of duties or fees, etc., levied by the government, thus helping in plugging the revenue leakage, if any, in the system. So, my lord, no revenue leakage had been identified. My lord, again, my lord, the object was, my lord, if there is any revenue leakage, we will plug it.
Yes.
Now, my lord, this is the purpose for which, my lord, these rules have been sought to be amended. Now, my lord, so far as the rules are concerned, your lordship will remember that the rules provide for a bonded warehouse, central bonded warehouse.
Yes.
And that your lordship will find from, my lord, paragraph 40, page 46 of the writ petition once, May I request your lordship to please have a look at the amendment to the excise rules. My lord, this is, my lord, what provided for the introduction of the central bonded warehouse. I'll not take your lordship through it. And then, my lord, the amendment to the bonded warehouse rules, which is more relevant, which is at page 43. Please come to page 43 once. Now, your lordships will notice, well, at page 43, if your lordships will kindly have a look at clause 2. It says insertion of new clause Roman 2a in rule 2. In the principal rules in rule 2, after the existing clause, the following clause shall be inserted. Namely, the central bonded warehouse means a licensed central warehouse. So, my lord, it talks about only one. And, my lord, one and nothing more. And the, my lord, purpose expressed is that if we have only one, we'll be able to plug the revenue leakage, if any. And, my lord, this is expressed again in clause 7 and clause 8 and clause 14. Well, your lordship will find the central bonded warehouse at clause 7. Again, the central bonded warehouse at clause 8. And, my lord, at clause 14, the central bonded warehouse, which, my lord, talks about in one. Now, my lord, this assumes a great deal of relevance because, my lord, ultimately, if the purpose was to, my lord, have one single entity, my lord, to make it, my lord, convenient for tax collection and to plug, my lord, revenue leakages, if any, then, my lord, the question is, my lord, how would this amendment justify the introduction of a second bonded warehouse, which is now an issue? And, my lord, the question is, my lord, if the state today accepts the fact that, my lord, there will have to be a second bonded warehouse, then this itself ultimately must lead to, my lord, the striking down of these amendments. My lord, because the state now accepts that, my lord, a sole entity, which is, my lord, the purpose of these amendments, and which is sought to be introduced through these amendments, cannot, my lord, serve the purpose or will not, my lord, create the level playing field that is necessary. Now, my lord, so far as this is concerned, my lord, here, my lord, your lordships will also, my lord, notice, my lord, that the state has, my lord, pursuant to an order of this court passed on the 20th June 2023, the state filed an affidavit. My lord, this affidavit is filed on well, 23rd February 2024. And I just want to show you, lordship, two small paragraphs of this affidavit of 23rd February 2024, which has been filed pursuant to an order of court.
There should be one more notebook. Just check it, because. Huh? Okay. Where is the affidavit? Yes.
Well, it's just two small paragraphs, paragraphs 3 and 4. Well, I'll just place these paragraphs. That it is submitted that the government of Meghalaya, in furtherance of the recommendations of the technical committee, has decided to create additional central bonded warehouses in the state of Meghalaya. Then the next paragraph is very, very important. The additional CBWs would reduce any apprehension of favoritism and provide a level playing field to all stakeholders. So, my lord, this is acceptance of the fact that, my lord, the regulation or the amendment to the regulation as it exists presently is, my lord, not, my lord, something that is, my lord, ultimately going to facilitate fair play, in the trade of liquor in the state of Meghalaya. Well, at the next point, since your lordships were on the bonded warehouse rules, my lord, your lordships have repeatedly asked the questions as to, my lord, whether this disturbs in any manner the free play, my lord, in the liquor trade in the state of Meghalaya. My lord, may I request your lordship to kindly once again come back to page 43. Well, there are two questions that have not been answered. If your lordships have a look at page 43 once. Well, this is where the regulation starts. I would request your lordship's attention to, well, draw your lordship's attention to page 44. Now, well, here, if your lordship see, well, very important. Now, well, clause 9, if your lordships will have a look at page 44, the central bonded warehouse shall have the capacity to supply and deliver all the registered brands of IMFL, beer, wine, BIO, etc. to the bonded warehouses within 45 days for goods produced in the state and 60 days for goods imported. Now, my lord, what it says here, that, my lord, you will get a time period of 60 days to ultimately effect supplies of goods that are produced out of state. Now, my lord, please see the very next, my lord, clause. The central bonded warehouse shall have a minimum stock of all types of brands for 3 months at any point of time. Then the next few words are very important. So that continuous regular supply can be maintained for all bonded warehouses. These two are at, my lord, cross purposes with each other. The first clause, my lord, that is clause 9, says that you will have a 60-day time to supply any brand that is requisitioned. And the second clause, my lord, that is clause 10, it says you will maintain 3 months stock, my lord, so that regular and continuous supply can be maintained. And, my lord, this apart, my lord, the questions that your lordships have put to, but, my lord, have not been answered is, my lord, when it says that, my lord, you must maintain a minimum stock for 3 months, the question is, what is a minimum stock? Will a minimum stock be 1 bottle? Will it be 1 case? Will it be 45 bottles? Will it be 450 bottles? My lord, that is not, my lord, provided, and, my lord, that ultimately leaves the whole thing, my lord, to, my lord, this creates untrammeled powers in the hands of, my lord, the CBW. Minimum stock of 3 months, and then, my lord, the question is, my lord, who decides what is the minimum stock? So, my lord, what is minimum stock is not mentioned. How the minimum stock will be decided or determined is not mentioned. Who will decide as to what the minimum stock is not mentioned. And, my lord, this ultimately, my lord, creates an apprehension that, my lord, the shelves may not be stocked with bonds with brands which are not preferred by, my lord, brands which are not, my lord, ultimately preferred brands by the CBW, because your lordships will remember in this regard that the constituents of the CBW are themselves, my lord, bottlers and manufacturers of liquor in the state of Meghalaya. And that is not in dispute. Now, my lord, the question therefore is, what is minimum stock? Who decides as to what will be the minimum stock? And, my lord, next thing is, my lord, ultimately, if there's a dispute as to whether there's a minimum stock maintained or not, how will that dispute be resolved? And, my lord, this ultimately will lead to a situation where the CBW may, at its own sweet will, decide as to what is the minimum stock of a particular brand vis-a-vis the minimum stock of another particular brand, and thereby, my lord, at its own sweet will again suppress the supply and sale of a particular brand within the state.
Yes.
Now, my lord, so far as this is concerned, these, my lord, are questions. Then, my lord, if your lordship sees, my lord, the next clause, which again, my lord, a clause which has been, my lord, very broadly answered without going into the specifics, clause 12. It says the minimum profit margin for bonded warehouses, my lord, will be 8%. Now, my lord, so far as your lordships are aware, well, your lordships, my lord, have noticed that, my lord, earlier, well, the CBW had sought to impose a margin of 17%, because they said 25%, which would include 8% bonded warehouse margins, and 17%. Of course, after my lord, this writ application was preferred and observations were made for court from time to time, my lord, this was not implemented. But, my lord, again, very significantly, in an affidavit that was filed by the respondent number 3, the Central Bonded Warehouse, yesterday, my lord, it has been mentioned in paragraph 4 that, my lord, they will now charge 10%. That they will charge 10%, which means initially, my lord, there was a loading on account of warehouse commission of 8%. Well, lord, yesterday, please see paragraph 4 of the affidavit. Here, my lord, it has been stated that, my lord, the CBW commission will be 10%. Initially, they had said it would be 17%. They have now brought it down to 10%. But, my lord, what does this 10% mean? My lord, initially, it was only 8% for the bonded warehouses. Now, my lord, addition of this 10% will make it 18%, which is a significant jump. Now, my lord, in this regard, my lord, may I just draw your lordship's attention, my lord, once again, to, my lord, the object that is at page 70 of the writ petition, what I just showed you, lordship, just one line. I should have pointed it out earlier, I missed it. Well, at page 70, or well, at page 71 rather, well, this is what is the representation made by the government. Well, just after, well, clause 8, clause 9, at page 71, where it says that the creation of CBW does not entail any additional cost of operations to the existing tiers, that is liquor companies, bonded warehouse, retailers. Now, my lord, if this is the representation...
Mr. Shah, you have already placed this. You have placed these facts. Well, please don't go into this and reply.
No, I will not. Well, kindly forgive me.
Or if any facts have taken you by surprise, or the submissions of Mr. Banerjee or you can deal with them.
Now, my lord, so far as this is concerned, my lord, the second thing is, my lord, your lordship has also noticed, I had placed this earlier.
So this is very important. The Central Warehouse Commission has been reduced to 2% now. From 70 down?
No, 10%. That's 10%. Page 4 of the affidavit filed yesterday. Which means, my lord, that today the total impact, which was initially 8%, will now be 18%. And this has to be absorbed either by, my lord, the liquor manufacturers or my lord, by the retailers. Well, that is the consumers. I'm sorry, not the retailers, the consumers. It has to be absorbed either by the bottlers, the manufacturers, or by the consumers. So, my lord, now, my lord, what is very important is, my lord, this imposition comes, my lord, to provide what service? The central bonded warehouse is not going to provide any new service, any additional service, and, my lord, in any manner add value to, my lord, what was happening in the matter of liquor state in the state earlier. And this is contrary to the representation made by the government, saying that this will not in any manner impact the margins.
Yes.
Now, my lord, this apart, my lord, so far as this is concerned, my lord, I will not trouble you lordships, but, my lord, already, my lord, that, my lord, these, my lord, amendments to the regulations were, my lord, ultimately creating untrammeled powers, or, my lord, giving, my lord, unfettered rights, my lord, to the central bonded warehouse, that has already been noticed by your lordships by the order of 20th June 2023. I will not place this order. And, my lord, this has not only, my lord, it is not in the nature of an interim order, because I'll tell you, lordships, they have given effect to this. The state has taken note of, my lord, the order passed by this court, and has, my lord, ultimately given effect to this order, because they have said that we have constituted a technical committee. The technical committee has gone into the matter. The technical committee finds that, yes, one central bonded warehouse is going to, my lord, ultimately create problems. It is going to disturb the level playing field, so we can't have one. Now, my lord, to deal with Mr. Banerjee's arguments, on section 19, what Mr. Banerjee really said, that section 19 of the statute, is not, ultimately does not result in, statutory ultra vires because of the language of section 19. May I request your lordships to, very briefly have a look at section 19 once of the, Excise Act. Well, your lordships have seen it, but I want to, even at the cost of repetition, just because it's a very short section. This state government may grant, This state government may grant to any person on such conditions and for such period as it may think fit, the exclusive privilege of manufacturing is one component, or of supplying to licensed vendors. Who are the licensed vendors? The bonded warehouses. Or of manufacturing and supplying to licensed vendors any country liquor. Foreign liquor is not country liquor, or intoxicating drug within any specified local area. So, two conditions. Number one, so far as this supply is concerned, the supply has to be made to licensed vendors. The licensed vendors are the bonded warehouses. Number two, so far as this is concerned, this will have to be restricted. If there's a grant of exclusive privilege, it will have to be restricted only to country liquor or intoxicating drug. Foreign liquor is neither country liquor nor intoxicating drug. And third is, it must be confined to a specified local area. Here, they're applying to the whole of Sikkim, Shillong. Now, please also, in this context, see what Mr. Banerjee argued. Mr. Banerjee said that no, there is no supply, we are only warehousing. He said we are only warehousing, so we don't fall within the purview of section 19. Correct. This is completely wrong, because if your lordship sees, same regulations, the bonded warehouse amendment regulations, that uses time and time again the expression supply. It says supply. For paragraph page 44. If your lordships will come back to page 44 of the writ petition, clauses 8, 9 and 10. The licensed vendors are only the bonded warehouses. So, there can be no confusion about this. And, if your lordship sees clause 8 of the amendment regulations of the bonded warehouse amendment regulations, please see clause 8. The central bonded warehouse shall be eligible to supply only to bonded warehouses. Then, again 9. The central bonded warehouse shall have the capacity to supply. And then, clause 10. The central bonded warehouse shall have a minimum stock of all types of brands for 3 months at any point in time, so that continuous regular supply can be maintained.
Supply is here, so you're a supplier.
Yes.
Now, so far as this is concerned, this is also stated clearly in the notice inviting tender, by which the tender for establishment of the central bonded warehouse was published. This notice inviting tender starts at page 50, and the relevant provision is at page 54. Please have a look at page 54. This is the notice inviting tender. Starts at page 50. The relevant portion which I want to draw your lordship's attention, just one line, is at page 54. The language is very clear, my lord. Page 54, lordships will see special terms and conditions of tender for operating central bonded warehouse for supply of IMFL, beer, wine, BIO, etc. to bonded warehouses in Meghalaya.
It is clear in the context.
So, my lord, the argument that, my lord, this section 19 ultimately does not apply because, my lord, it is warehousing and not supply, my lord, does not work at all. Now, my lord, the next, my lord, objection that was taken was that we have the rule-making power So we have the liberty to frame these rules. Now, my lord, so far as the rule-making power is concerned, that is, my lord, contained in section 36. My lord, please have a look at section 36 of the Excise Act. Well, at section 36, kindly allow me to place just two portions. Section 36, subsection 1 is extremely important. The state government may make rules for the purpose of carrying out the provisions of this act. So, my lord, ultimately, when it says the rule-making power is confined to, my lord, carrying out the provisions of the act, it means not to, my lord, carry out any provision which is in contradiction to express provisions of the act. And my lord, that is where section 19 comes in again. So, my lord, you can't possibly make a rule which is going to ultimately be in violation of the substantive provision of the statute. And my lord, the rule-making power is always a delegated power. Now, well, so far as here, my learned friend's argument is we have the power to make these rules, but how can you have a power to make a rule which is in contradiction with an express provision of the statute? And the express language is that the state government may make rules for the purpose of carrying out the provisions of this act. If you make a rule that contradicts the provisions of section 19, then it is not for carrying out the provisions of the act. And my lord, what my learned friends relied on in this regard is, my lord, please see, my lord, section 36, my lord, section 36, subsection 2F. That is what they relied upon. Section 36 2F. Well, it says, my lord, for regulating the deposit of intoxicant in warehouses and removal of such articles from warehouses, distilleries or breweries. Now, my lord, this is, my lord, ultimately, my lord, regulating deposit of intoxicant in warehouses. My lord, number of warehouses, central bonded warehouse is also a warehouse. The different bonded warehouses are also warehouses. Now, my lord, today,
Mr. Shah, you have argued all this is all marked. See.
No, I will not, my lord.
But otherwise, this will go on up to sunset.
No, my lord.
Please confine your reply to law only, and yes, any facts by which you are taken by surprise. Argued. Facts we have all noted.
This is concerned. After this, my lord, Mr. Banerjee, I'll just, my lord, sum up very quickly in 5 minutes. My lord, Mr. Banerjee had said that there are no, my lord, margins that have been kept for the CBW. My lord, that is, my lord, incorrect, because ultimately your lordships have seen that they have now come on record to state that we intend to maintain a 10% margin. Then, my lord, Mr. Banerjee has argued that, my lord, today you can't ultimately, my lord, challenge, my lord, an economic regulation. My lord, because the economic policy, my lord, ultimately permits the state to, my lord, do whatever it feels. My lord, with the greatest respect, that is not correct, because even, my lord, in the judgment that Mr. Banerjee has referred to and relied on, it says unless, my lord, the exercise of the powers in framing the policy is arbitrary, it is, my lord, wrongful, and it is malafide. So, my lord, so far as that judgment is concerned, that is not an absolute proposition. It does not say that, my lord, any economic legislation can go through without any challenge.
No Supreme Court judgment lays down any proposition. Ye bhi hota hai, wo bhi hota hai.
Then, my lord, the next, my lord, argument was that, my lord, it is on a mere apprehension.
Yes.
My lord, we have in our note, my lord, given, my lord, ample authority to say that an apprehension, and particularly an apprehension of which the court has taken due notice and has recorded that, my lord, this ultimately gives me a right to sue. My lord, is something that, my lord, can give me a cause of action to approach your lordship, which we have done by way of the writ petition. And, my lord, the last submission, with which I shall, my lord, end, because, my lord, otherwise I've said everything in my note. My lord, is, my lord, the, my lord, allegation that, look, this has led to hugely increased sales. My lord, with the greatest respect, my lord, the CBW was not constituted for the purpose of enhancing or increasing sales. That was not the object. And, my lord, so far as the sales are concerned, my lord, they have really, my lord, taken into account, my lord, every year, my lord, the population is increasing and the demand is increasing. And, my lord, so far as this is concerned, kindly see What is, my lord, important is really the comparison of figures of 2021, my lord, when, my lord, there was, my lord, really a slump in sale of all liquor because of the prohibitions that had been, my lord, introduced because of COVID. So, my lord, this, my lord, cannot justify, my lord, the going through of this particular legislation. Well, I have, my lord, dealt with all these arguments in my note. I have also, my lord, made extensive submissions in my note.
They have not inserted any preamble. There is no recital, and usually recitals and preambles are not there in subordinate legislation.
Rules,
And
rules, amendment of rules.
And the only change in the trade is the source of the stock for
Yes.
the bonded warehouses and the movement of the stock from the source. So
And this
has to be
ultimately,
that has to be adjudged by the court, and
that's it. That's
yes,
it. And we have got to say that, my lord, this is not a novel service. This is not something new that they're intending to do by establishing the CBW. And ultimately, my lord, this creates untrammeled powers. This violates Article 14.
yes,
Well, that is, my lord, all that I want to submit.
Yes.
Because, my lord, we have filed a note and given a compilation of the judgments.
yes.
No new
And
judgment
court-
has been included.
and court will not interfere in policy matters, but if it is unconstitutional, unlawful, illegal, arbitrary, discriminatory, or wholly perverse, then the court will interfere.
Of course, my lord, the question of monopoly is still there because, my lord, so far as monopoly is concerned, my learned friends have said that, my lord, this is the only route to market now. And, my lord, if the only route to market is now controlled by a single entity, my lord, that would create a monopoly. And unless it is a state monopoly, my lord, it will, my lord, ultimately be hit by Article 90. And, my lord, particularly, my lord, because, my lord, here the upstream and downstream players are the same. My lord, the persons who are now the CBW are also persons who own, my lord, bonded warehouses and, my lord, manufacturing units in the state. And, my lord, they are my competitors in the trade.
1 out of 45.
My lord, that is all.
Didn't know this.
Yes.
Ones which you raised.
So,
Millards.
yes, Mr. Paul.
Millards, I am there for the second writ petition, Millards. I'll just adopt the submissions made by my learned senior, Mr. Shah, and just add to just one small issue, Millards, which is why we were here before your lordships in the first place. Millards, earlier under the old regime, we were getting anything between 8 to 22%, Millards, depending on the bargaining power that was with us. So there were 44 bonded warehouses, Millards. So we had the liberty of actually bargaining with the manufacturers, and our margins were fixed between 8 to 22. Now, under the new regime, Millards, as your lordships have seen, at page 44, Millards, it has
Yes.
been restricted to a minimum of 8%.
Minimum.
Coupled with the fact, Millards, that now the bonded warehouse, the CBW comes before your lordships and says, Millards, that we are taking a minimum of 10%. Now, what has basically happened is, Millards, and if I'll just break it down. Earlier, Millards, I as a bonded warehouse, Millards, had the liberty of, Millards, actually going and negotiating with the suppliers for a better margin. Now, that, Millards, has been done away with by the introduction of the CBW, because now it becomes one entity which has all the brands. So my power of bargaining, Millards, it's taken away by creation of the CBW. Resultantly, Millards, that my profit, which is now fixed at 8% only.
It can't rise above the minimum.
It can.
Well,
it can.
it can, but
dispute.
Millards, I am negotiating with a single entity. Now they're saying, Millards, if it is 8 and 22, it's 18, Millards. So basically, there may be a scope of only a 4% margin. That's all. 10% the CBW is taking away. Earlier, Millards, that 10% was available with me. And to this extent, Millards, your lordships, I'll not burden your lordships with this. Para 56 of Khode distilleries, Millards.
What for you?
Para 56 of Khode distilleries, Millards, it simply says, and I'll just quote it, Millards, it's just one line.
What is the citation?
Millards, this is Khode is,
Okay,
Millards,
got it.
Khode is 1995, 1 SCC, page 574. Well, just one line I'll read, my lords. It says, all that the citizen can claim in such a situation is an equal right to carry on trade or business in portable liquor as against other citizens. Now, what is happening here is, my lords, by creation of this new CBW, my lords, that power which was earlier there available with me, my lords, has been taken away. And my lords, I'd already pointed out that one of the reasons why they said that the CBW has been introduced is to check revenue leakage. There's no question of revenue leakage in the first place, because your lordships have seen that all that was, it was prepaid ad valorem. So whatever was to be paid has been paid in advance by us in any event. And that, my lords, the argument of monopoly, my lords, as my learned seniors already submitted, my lords, gets fortified by the fact that the state now comes before your lordships, files an affidavit and says that the technical committee is examined, and my lords, they feel it appropriate that there should be a second CBW.
You see, the government has the right to fix the price. Now, if this commission has to be adjusted, they have the power to increase the price of a bottle. Right?
My lords,
Mr. Shah submitted that if that is done, that might impact the market, because one who is buying it for rupees 90 would have to pay rupees 105 for a bottle.
absolutely.
He might reduce his consumption of alcohol or go to some other
Other brand, my lords.
brand,
That's
or some other source
Other
of
intoxicant.
yes. And number two is to adjust that or absorb that in their revenue. All right.
Absolutely, absolutely, my lords.
So this is implementation of the policy, like either by adjustment of price so that there is no diminution in the sale or turnover, or by absorption or adjustment into the tax received by them, if the trade can be maintained as it is without any loss to the existing players. But if it is found by this process, no public good is achieved by the introduction of central bonded warehouse, but instead the business of the bonded warehouses have fallen, then this is something else.
My lords, that is what we are submitting before your lordships. And the other fact, my lords, which again my learned seniors again harped, my lords, and I'll just repeat myself at the cost of repetition, that the CBW before your lordships, my lords, the private respondent has both upstream and downstream interests. He is a manufacturer, he is, my lords, the central bonded warehouse, and he is also a bonded warehouse. So basically, my lords, he has his hands in every pocket. Coupled with the fact, my lords, your lordships have already noted the dates as to how, my lords, when the CBW is constituted, when, my lords, the policy is brought on record, and when the tender is awarded to the CBW.
And Mr. Banerjee has submitted that you give us directions in that we will comply with regard to commission price, etc., to our counter scheme. So let us see what we can.
My lords.
He has said that we will comply with those directions so that there is no loss of business to the existing traders, the bonded warehouses.
If I may, my lords, if I may, my lords, that preposition would be okay if, my lords, the objectives, as your lordships have rightly pointed out, if there is a system in place, if I am replacing that system, my lords, with a better system, probably yes. There may be little tweaks that may be required here and there. But if this new system itself is flawed, and my lords, it is apparent that it is being brought in to favor a certain individual, then in that event, my lords, that may not withstand the test of judicial review by your
And he
lords.
has also said you make complaint, we will take action in accordance with those complaints, and also the increase in the number of cases of alcohol sold, bottles.
This is the
The charge given 2 lakhs to 5 lakhs, etc.
But if I may, my lords, the government has an equal obligation, my lords, to restrict the sale of alcohol rather than, my lords, actually patronize.
That's why it's gone up 3 times.
That's why, my lords, they say it's Rex extra commercial.
All right.
So these commercial matters, my lords, the government may not really want to go into. Your lordships have heard us, my lords.
Yes.
I'm grateful, my lords. My lords, we'll submit a short written note, my lords.
Yes.
My lords. Highly obliged.
We
हम क्या बोलेंगे आप लोग नहीं
hearing concluded, CAV. advocate on record
Take it on record.
for any party may submit short written submissions.
My lord, we have received a copy of an affidavit filed by the CBW. I don't know whether it's
My lord,
fit to
we have
file it.
filed, yesterday I pointed out the transactions, my lord, the investments we have made. So we have filed an affidavit indicating where we have pleaded in our affidavit, my lord. So that may kindly be taken on record, my lord. A 2-page affidavit.
No, I told you that you indicate in your notes where you have referred to that in your petition for Mr.
My lord,
Saha to
we
see.
have done that, my lord, by way of an affidavit. We served a copy.
Why affidavit? Write a letter. Affidavit will create a problem at this stage.
It may be also, my lord, I have looked at it. It may be there's some other material also which may not have been there. I do not know. So that's why probably they filed the affidavit.
It's a small 2-page affidavit, my lord.
Yes, but if it is,
I've referred to
if it
the-
refers to the petition, all right. Otherwise, we cannot look into
It
it.
refers to that, my lord, or to our affidavit, my lord.
We are very grateful, my lord, for
Thank you very much for
and it has been a privilege to hear Mr. Shah and Mr. Paul also.
Well,
my
it's-
lord. Very interesting.
Well, this is probably the last time that I will be addressing my lord the Chief Justice. Well, because
We are all it's a momentous
we
occasion
were-
for
we
all
were
of us, my lord.
decided not to
Mr.
have
Shah
your
and
lordship on the
myself who
board.
have known your lordship for
Yes.
so many years
Yes,
that we
It
joined.
is also
Both of us joined in.
rare privilege to have you as addressing counsel
Your lordship
on the very
we have all been with your lordships at the
Last-
bar and senior lordship.
last days on the bench. So
Mr. Shah will join me in wishing your lordship.
this is also a rare gift from God.
My lord, we will miss your lordship on the bench. That I can tell your lordship, but we wish your lordship all the best in your lordship's
Thank you.
my lord, next phase.
Hearing concluded, CAB for either parties file the written note of submissions by 1st September.
First,
All right. And any affidavit filed in court is taken on record and will be considered if permissible under law.
Grateful.
I'll oblige.
Highly.
Yes,
Item
please.
number 1 to 5.
Yes, please.
Well, it's my friend Mr. Mosika to respond. I had adopted the arguments made by the Learned Senior Counsel, Mr. Salman Khurshid.
Have you filed any notes?
We file it. So we can file it by Monday.
Anyway, that may not be required. Now, let us come to the charge sheet, page 66. You filed applications for discharge before the learned court below under section 227.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
You are representing all others except the minister. Huh?
Malaj, I am representing A2, Malaj. A1 is being Mr. Khurshid had appeared for A1. This is the minister.
The order on discharge, my lord, is at page 44.
Sorry?
The order passed by the trial court on discharge application,
Is at page 44.
44.
44.
Where is the interpolation? If you come to the merit list score sheet, page 197, I was shown this New Biang Ting, serial 6, 45 total. And in the list, he is one, page 194 or 74. Where is that white color?
The white color is not on record.
Give a call to Sanjay and ask her to just here. Call up, sit, go do it from here. He's the mute.
What is 12.2, 12.3, 15.1? Some noting is there.
Hello. Ma'am, WhatsApp. Okay.
हमारा पढ़े दे दो.
Zycon. Send it to Zycon.
Huh?
Zycon@gmail.com. ZYCOZ.
Is the signature of A1 there in any list? Mr. Paul? Is there signature of A1 in any list?
No, my lords. A1 signature admittedly is not there, my lords, in any of the lists.
But your client's signature is there.
My lords, because I have to sign, I am the Director of Education. I am required to sign, my lords.
Dr. Bozika, you make your submissions on Monday. We are keeping it for 15 minutes on this interpolation. That's all. As submitted by Learned Senior Counsel.
Monday.
Page 194 is the merit list. Then comes the score sheets, followed by (197, 198, etc., etc.) Number one, her signature is not there. The director has to sign it as a matter of formality, and it is also signed by other persons.
Signed by other persons also.
They are also co-accused.
They are, my lord.
No. No, my lord.
Directly is co-accused, my lord.
There are just three accused persons. One is the minister, one is myself, my lord, who's the director, and there's the joint director who's made an accused. No other person has been made an accused.
You are representing the joint director also.
My lord, joint director is not before your lordships, my lord.
My lord, I'm appearing for the
had filed an
A3. I'm appearing for A3, my lord.
You are appealing for the joint director.
My lord.
You have not made an application.
My lord, we have not filed any application because my trial, my lord, has been kept in abeyance. Because we have filed an application under 329 of the CRPC. But my lord, my trial has been kept in abeyance on the ground that due to my health, my lord. My mental health.
Now, the allegations against A1 are primarily in 116 and 117 minutes of the charge sheet. Para 17.35 and 17.37.
The charge is not abetting an illegal act. Agree to do an illegal act by using white fluid, increasing marks, etc., etc. And then the learned judge pronouncing the judgment has gone beyond that and said during investigation this was said, etc., etc. Telephonic conversation was with how that became relevant.
But the allegation is, my lord,
Without trial?
C passed on the slips, my lord, recommending the names, they appoint him, appoint her, increase her marks, increase his marks.
So that should be mentioned in the charge sheet. Because you have to give the accused the grounds on which the accusation is being made in some detail.
The first charge, my lord, deals with conspiracy under 120B.
Mr. Paul, you bring your notes on Monday?
Monday.
And you also bring your notes and make your oral arguments.
We'll do
And
that.
I shall try to conclude the hearing on that day.
My lords. I'll take 5 minutes of your my lord's time on Monday,
Yes.
my lords, sir, with the my lords.
List this application for further hearing. On first, is there a matter fixed?
But may I pray for second, my lord, Tuesday?
That electricity matter fixed on first at 12:45. All right. Second after division bench. No, on second at a time to be indicated in the list.
My lords.
Be-
Learned advocates for the parties are requested to bring written submissions
Well,
and file the same in court on that day.
well, highly obliged.